Claws.
I love those. I have right now nothing on my nails because we're just now live and just continuing our conversation. That's okay. I sprained my wrist, and so I've been like, yeah, and then I sprained it, and then I continued to lift weights with it in denial. But it's a lot better now because I've had a week and a half off, and I've just been like resting it and everything because I didn't know something was wrong because it never swelled. Like it stayed the same size. But yeah. Anyway, hi guys. Welcome to Wrestling Made Me Cry. My name is Kiley.
I'm your Auntie Collins.
And I'm so excited. This is our 40th episode, by the way.
40th episode on May the 4th.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I love it.
And wrestling t-shirt of the day, guys. I got controversial today. Don't kill me. But do we have let me move my hair. We have CMFTR.
I feel like this is targeted towards me because I said on my Twitter this week that I did not think that CM Punk is a very good wrestler.
I did put it on with you in mind, I have to
say. Because I know that you showed it to me last week and I was like,
I was feeling a little devious. But I'm like, I have so many wrestling shirts that are just I don't wear them because either they have this guy on it and I don't want to wear it on stream because, crazy. But I was like,
behave today.
Yeah, behave today. But I was like digging and I found it and it's like it's like a really good shirt.
It is a really good shirt.
Oh, wrong side. It's mirrored. It has Mullet Cash Wheeler.
That's the best version.
Who I miss dearly.
Yeah. Well.
But to your point, CM Punk not the best in-ring wrestler.
He's not my favorite. I'll just keep it at that. If you are in the chat, Fernando has already jumped the train. May the 4th be with you. I'm wearing my Empire Strikes Back shirt. So
I was raised in a Star Trek household.
Oh, I didn't know we'd be fighting this early.
Yeah. Oh. Not only was it a Star Trek household, it was an anti-Star Wars household.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not. My dad has watched Star Trek on repeat his entire life. My dad was born in the 60s.
Okay.
And he was Star Trek from the get-go. And even now, when he's like getting ready for work in the morning, or like if you go to his house, it's on just all day.
All day. Interesting. My mother was very into Star Wars. Told me that she went to the first Star Wars movie like repeatedly in the movie theater because you could actually do that back in the day.
Yeah.
So we grew up watching Star Wars, and then when I was becoming a person, the Phantom Menace came out. And I'm going to tell you something. Mm-hmm. It always gets me a lot of heat. The Phantom Menace is such a fun introduction into the Star Wars franchise that it's my favorite. Next to The Empire Strikes Back. Because at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, the bad guys are winning.
All I know about Star Wars is Yoda. And how Yoda speaks. I know Darth Vader.
Okay.
And Luke and Princess Leia. I've never seen Star Wars. Maybe we should do that for a podcast. Kiley watches Star Wars and then we talk about it.
I'm into it. Anything to get me to watch them. They have been doing some, I don't know if it's like a trend, I guess, is just re-releases in the theater. So
I saw that.
Old movies.
I went to see Happy Gilmore, and they were doing Happy Gilmore and Star Wars. 30th anniversary of one of them. I don't remember which one.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many people in the theater to see Star Wars. They were like in their Star Wars like costumes or clothes or whatever. It's like, man, am I missing out?
Yeah, you are. At one of the showings in California, my baby, Hayden Christensen, showed up. I don't know if y'all know. I have been obsessed with Hayden Christensen. Used to cut his pictures out of the magazines and put them in a in a notebook and just stare at the notebook for a long time. I'm a weird kid, you know?
I was weird too. It's okay. I loved Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy. And I don't know if anybody in the chat has had this experience, but we used to get the like Teen Vogue or like J14 magazine.
Yes.
And they would have in there like where you could send mail to celebrities, which was really just like their PR office.
Their PR. Yeah. But
we
didn't know
that. I write so many letters to so many celebrities. Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah, I wrote a letter to Chad Michael Murray. I definitely have sent like pieces of my hair to celebrities.
I don't think I went that far.
I think that there's something like, why did I do that? Who did I learn that from? What are they going to do with the hair when they get it? I didn't think about that.
People have probably sent weirder stuff. Like, honestly, I think that's pretty tame.
I just wanted them to know that I had
hair.
I had red hair. Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me.
Because I dyed my hair red.
That makes sense to me. I'm also wearing a necklace, which I got at the Smithsonian Museum of the American Indian. It's made by Native Americans. And I wanted to wear it today because I wanted to remind you all in the time that we are in where we are trying to celebrate Christopher Columbus, that Native Americans still exist and you should buy things from them so they can support themselves on reservations.
People,
I didn't want to get celebrate. I think I treaded carefully there.
People still celebrate Christopher Columbus Day.
Yeah.
Because in the state of Washington, it's called Indigenous People Day. So
yeah, I don't want to get like too overly political, but yeah. But I just wanted to give people like a little gentle reminder that you can buy things from Indigenous people, and it does help them because Indigenous people, on average, compared to other groups, live in abject poverty. So, just saying.
So the town that I lived in my teenage years was right next to like two different Native American reservations.
Mm-hmm.
And they're joined by the Clearwater Casino, which is like, it used to just be like circus tents, like back in the day. And my parents would go and it would just be like these tents. And now it's like a multiple building, a resort. There's like a water park thing in it. Like there's an amphitheater for it's a whole shindig. And I love that it brings revenue to the community.
Mm-hmm.
But also I love Clay Aiken. I don't know if you knew this about me, but Clay Aiken was my American Idol. Like got like with those J Beat or Teen Beat magazines or like Teen Vogue, all the things, would find everything of Clay Aiken, cut it out and put it in my locker. Okay. He was at this casino, which was like basically in the place that I grew up in, and they were having a concert there. So I took my mom. And we sat like second row in their little amphitheater because tickets are still like $45. And I just had the time of my life.
I love that.
And Clay Aiken was in my hometown.
You breathe the same air.
I know.
But speaking of tickets, I looked at AEW tickets. Kind of reasonable considering.
I wanted to know your opinion because AEW has been in these smaller venues, these niche venues. What do you think of them?
I like it. I like that every week looks significantly different because they're in these smaller venues, but a lot of them are super unique. Like they're music halls or, other things. So like the tiers are different, or they go out further, or they come in and they're wider. I like it because every week looks different, because most of the venues they were running before, like the arenas, they all look for the most part the same.
Yeah.
And so I like that we get some variety and some new stuff. And I like that they're smaller because I don't really care what the crowd looks like these, look at all these tarped off sections stuff. I don't really care. But I feel like it sounds better. Like, I think the sound, because I guess the sound of people cheering or clapping or what have you doesn't have to travel as far. It sounds so electric, like lightning in a bottle, I think. So I've been really, really enjoying it.
That was something that when my husband and I watched Dynamite this week, is that the venue that they were in this last week.
Yeah.
In Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah.
Why did I say New Jersey? In Norfolk, Virginia. I just wanted to like be there. There's not a lot of venues or shows that we've watched where I've gone, you know what, I want to be there. Hammerstein Ballroom is like probably top tier, or anytime like there's something at Madison Square Garden or Arthur Ashe Stadium. Like,
yeah,
it's the difference of like, oh, I would love to be in a stadium, to see a wrestling thing. Still debating on whether or not I can afford to go to All In.
Yeah.
At this time. However, I looked at that venue and I said, that looks really fun.
Yeah.
I want to be there. And next month, we get the opportunity here to go to Kent, Washington, which is not Seattle. It is not Tacoma. It is not Everett. It is Kent, which is much further and kind of more towards the mountains. And the arena I've been there for a country show, but it is a very unique looking venue. So I'm interested to see how it goes. So
I'm excited. I think that we're kind of in an AEW boom period. And I think a lot of that does have to do with the feel of the venues. Because I think AEW has always built itself as this community-centered, like, super intimate experience where, and if we're being honest, a lot of AEW fans do know each other. And they go to the shows. And so I think the smaller venues has really helped that. And I think, well, also a lot of their stories are popping off. And we'll talk about Tony, and we'll talk about Omega Okada and Kyle Fletcher and Hangman. We'll talk about all that. But it feels like something so small as booking smaller venues. The crowd sizes haven't really changed, but it feels so much bigger now than it did before. And I dig it. I am so excited. But we have to talk about Toni Storm, because this got me jumping.
Jumping, the house is jumping. Sorry, I had to do that. We love a queen on both shows on the week, on Dynamite and Collision.
A workhorse world champ.
Very different kinds of matches, but tell me your thoughts on Miss Toni Storm. I never want this to end.
I think Toni Storm right now is the best wrestler in the world.
Absolutely.
In-ring, promo, character, all of the above. I think that Toni Storm is beating everybody. I also think that Toni Storm's character, like Timeless Toni Storm, it's so essential to like this new era of AEW that it's almost like they are the same thing. Like they're synonymous. Yeah. I like that Toni Storm, the matches are obviously great. Toni can wrestle anybody in any style. But what I really appreciate is that Toni Storm is leaning into the trans rights stuff and the queerness, because she is bisexual, like leaning into like her authentic self and her allyship through the voice of this like 1940s, 1950s Hollywood starlet, like crazy Hollywood starlet in these like intense promos. And then obviously her promo on Collision where she's like on the balcony. And she's, first of all, she starts in the ring rolling around. First of all, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes, we are.
She's rolling around in the ring. And she's talking about, you know, everybody wants to come for Toni Storm, but Toni Storm comes for everybody. And, oh, yes, enthusiastic Toni
Mr.
Storm.
Boy.
But Toni Storm comes for everybody. And so if you got the tits to take the hits, like, let's do this. And then she ends up, you know, running to the balcony outside. And she says, I'm here, I'm queer, and I'm timeless. And I was like, yes! And I said on Blue Sky, I feel like if AEW really leans in to being the inclusive promotion in North America, where this is intentional and purposeful, and you know they care about the LGBTQ community, they care about, you know, representation, all of these sorts of things, I feel like they're going to reach new markets, and they already have, like, just judging from what I've seen on Blue Sky, because there are a lot of young people, and I know this because I work with young people who are so jaded.
Yeah.
Like they don't care about diversity and they don't care about social justice because all they've done is like signed on to support things and nothing has come of it. There's been no action, and they see leaders and politicians and, you know, corporations say, celebrate diversity, celebrate pride, whatever, and nothing happens.
And nothing.
So they are so jaded. And I know from experience, it's so hard because I'm not saying that they're like homophobic, transphobic, whatever, but it's so hard for them to be engaged in this kind of stuff because they're jaded. They have this defeatist mindset that everything is pointless. So I think if AEW leans into it and says, we're inclusive in all of these ways, it's about wrestling, it's about, you know, community, I think they could reach like that group of young people who want entertainment that sort of addresses the criticisms that they have. And so I think Toni Storm is a big part of that. Obviously, Kenny Omega is a big part of that. And I think AEW should really lean into it. And I feel like they are. I don't know where Nyla Rose is, because you would think that Nyla Rose would be, you know, front and center. Because when Nyla Rose was more, I guess, active in AEW is the right word, she was openly trans, and they talked about the fact that she was openly trans. And I don't know where Nyla is now. I have no idea. But we have so many LGBTQ wrestlers in AEW. In a time where wrestling fans are seeing other wrestling promotions that shall not be named do questionable things. And I don't want to get too much into that because, you know,
that's not what we're here to do.
That's not what we're here for
today. There's been enough of that discourse, especially on this channel, other channels, what have you.
Yeah.
So as a queer wrestling fan, a queer person, seeing representation is important to me because I mean, I know that we've had a whole episode dedicated to this of like,
yeah,
you know, queerness in wrestling and how that's been portrayed. And it has not always been favorable, right? We've seen the negative side of, you know, how even just having like a, you know, gay storyline can be where,
yeah,
you know, it's a joke. And now having wrestlers be open about themselves, there is nothing that I want more than to see queer children become queer adults. You know what I mean? Like there was no like praying away my queerness, you know, not really like understanding it from, you know, the early 2000s when I was living in a fundamentalist Christian household. Like that none of that made me not queer. You know what I mean? So like having someone see representation does help someone want to either come out or not. And both are valid if you are in the closet and not in the closet. I want to reiterate, all of it is valid. But seeing it as not a butt of a joke is so invigorating. It is so important to see. And the more we see that and kind of normalize, like, oh, you can be a wrestler and be part of the community. It's not your entire stigma. It's not your entire personality. I think that's an important conversation to have, because it means plenty of people can be those things and also be great wrestlers, can be great, whatever. So I don't know. I absolutely love everything that Toni Storm is doing. I just love that. I mean, she's going to the Turner Broadcasting red carpets.
Yeah. Turner Classics, or what is it? I don't know what it's called. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but they did like a showing of The Empire Strikes Back, and she took a picture, and like George Lucas is in the background. Like,
she's so cool.
She's just so excellent. And I think having Toni Storm as your champion in AEW, getting this sort of like crossover visibility, A+, 110%. Give it to me more.
Yes, I agree. But I also think, I was on Blue Sky this morning, and there were people in like the video gaming space and the anime space and these other spaces talking about Toni Storm because of the promo, and saying that maybe wrestling is cool. And I think that, well, like, obviously we know that wrestling is cool, and chat knows that wrestling is cool.
Yeah.
But I think Toni Storm is doing something that's so important. One, because being the best character in wrestling and being a woman is a big deal. And obviously, like, she's done a lot of the groundwork to kind of pick AEW up off the ground when it was in the trenches. But also, I think she, like, it goes beyond her, and that AEW is doing something bigger than itself. Now, if they could only get rid of this MJF Hurt Syndicate story, I'd be into it. But I don't want to harp on that, because we did a lot of that. But just a reminder, guys, if you want your question, your comment read on air, make sure to submit a super chat, and we'll read all of those. And also, my birthday is in 2 days, so just saying. But
a Taurus.
I think because if you look at the biggest stars in AEW right now, it's Tony and Mercedes in the women's division. It's Kenny. It's not Moxley. Let's be so real with ourselves. Let's be so real. It's Hangman, and it's Swerve, and it's Mike Bailey, and it's ironically Mark Briscoe, and Okada, and Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher, and all of these people. They're all like they're a very diverse group, of course, but they all sort of exude this energy of, we're not like the past of wrestling, like we're doing something completely new and reinventing things. And Hangman and Fletcher, I'm gonna be honest, they had a very gay match. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory sense. Chat knows, but I need to say that just in case. But it was very like homoerotic, and it ended up on the bad side of Blue Sky, where people were saying, "See, I told you wrestling was homophobic, you losers." But they don't see that, like, the point was that it was gay. They think that they were making fun, because like that's the history of wrestling, like we were talking about. Like, people did stuff like that to make fun of gay people, but they're doing it because they're having like this sort of silly match, because that's the point. Sorry, there's a dog barking and kids screaming. The point is that Kyle Fletcher is playing this like he's playing a gay character, because he's not, but he's playing this like free-flowing kind of dude who wears crop tops and
pink. My gosh.
And pink sunglasses.
It's just, I don't know if I could say it on here. It's just see you next Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it is the definition of that. And it reminds me very much of, do you see Josie and the Pussycats movie?
Yes.
It's very like that kind of 2000s.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very like, and in our current moment, sort of not going into the super uber masculine type wrestling character is interesting. I know it's mind-blowing, but it makes stories interesting. And it attracts, there's a reason why Kyle Fletcher and Hangman Page had the highest women's viewership.
right.
Like, there are tons and tons of women that want to like wrestling. But they haven't watched wrestling because when they think of wrestling, they think of the Dark Ages. They don't, but Kyle Fletcher and Hangman and Toni Storm and Mercedes and all of these things has brought, I mean, the Elite brought in a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just bringing in more women. And I think like this is the way. Like, obviously AEW isn't perfect. And I don't want it to seem like I'm saying that AEW is like this utopia of equality, because that's not. And there are clear issues. But lean into it. Like, lean into being the alternative and like the opposite of the mainstream promotion that shall not be named. Like, just go for it. And I think, I don't know, I think they'd be surprised at like how successful they are at it. Because people are gonna call them gay anyway. You're always gonna be called gay. You might as well be gay. Am I wrong?
Kiley, that is so funny.
Listen, I don't know.
That's so funny. If you're gonna be called gay, just be gay anyways.
Yeah.
Put that on a shirt.
Because listen, there's a whole bunch of free agents now, and who will be free agents soon. And some of them are members of the LGBTQ community. So
it's a lot, but
yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about the WWE releases. I just want to say, I wish the best of luck for everybody who was released or isn't having their contract renewed, and you're kind of low-key a loser if you're making fun of them. That's all I want to say. But I don't know. Toni Storm feels like a breath of fresh air in wrestling. And then also this eight-man all-star tag, I think is what they branded it
The
as.
fact that they opened Dynamite this week with this like 8-man tag match, which I was like, oh, Kevin Knight, oh, Mike Bailey, oh my God, look at all these people.
It just kept going.
Match. They just kept going.
It was wild. I loved this match.
Mm-hmm.
I had a blast because you had Ricochet doing his Ricochet thing where he's like kind of cringy, but in like a little brother kind of way. You know what I mean?
Kind of bald way.
In a bald way. And wait, Kenny's clapping on his bald head. Oh. But you had that. And then you had this Omega Okada, like, super serious face-off, which the crowd went from, ha ha ha, Ricochet, you're bald, to, oh my God, it's Omega Okada in the ring at the same time. And then, you know, Mark Briscoe and Kevin Knight just being goofballs. Oh, and also the Young Bucks were there.
Right. Which they are so ripped. Like, they went away and like,
especially Nick.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know what, somebody just like showed him. Okay, so my brother had a Max Steel doll. So it wasn't a G.I. Joe doll. It's Max Steel, okay?
Yeah.
But he kind of had the muscles that are like the circle muscles. You know what I mean? Like, just very like
building blocks.
That's what Matt Jackson looks like to me right now, is very like, oh, you just put some blocks in your arms and your chest.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Jackson boys look so ripped before.
It's crazy. Like, especially Nick, because Nick's always been smaller.
You're right.
He looks crazy. Like Nick has never really had abs, and now he has abs.
Yeah, which is wild.
And they come back and they're having excellent matches.
Mm-hmm.
And this was another one. It was the perfect mix to me of work rate, like Kenny Omega stuff, and Kevin Knight, showing off again that he's the best.
I love him so much.
And then you had like goofy Mark Briscoe and Ricochet. Like when Matt Jackson puts his hair over Ricochet's head, so it's like hair. Now apparently Ricochet is just like now friends with the Young Bucks because they have another match this week. So,
I mean, it kind of solidifies like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. So like all bad guys are bad guys together because they want good to go. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So, and I think on like, if you want to dig deeper, I think there's something kind of poetic about the Young Bucks recruiting Ricochet, who a lot of people said was knockoff Will Ospreay, who a lot of people said was knockoff Kenny Omega. There's something poetic there. And also Okada's here. Just and he's like not the most notable part of this match, which is crazy.
It's just building to Kenny versus Okada at All In, which is almost worth, because I sent you a screenshot, but the airfare for me is still in the $300 realm.
Yeah. Which is ridiculous. Mine was like, and we talked about this just a couple months ago. Mine was in like the $500 range because the United States was falling apart. Well, is still falling apart, but that when it started to fall apart, it was like in the $500 range. And I was like, there's absolutely no way.
Mm-mm.
And I like tried to calculate if I drove, which Florida to Texas is pretty far, but like what would the gas cost be?
Yeah.
It still would have been in the $500 range because you have to stop and, you guys know.
Yeah.
It went down. And I was like, this is a sign from the universe. But nobody else's flights are going down. Everybody I talked to, and I'm like, are you going to All In? Like, we could get dinner, we can go in on a hotel, like we could, or an Airbnb, like we can, hang out, I don't know, do something. Everybody's like, no, my flight's $400 or my flight's $300.
Yeah.
And obviously, because if you're flying on a weekend, the flights are going to be more expensive. It's just always that way. But I was like, how did I end up?
Because yours went down significantly.
It's a fifth of what it was.
Yeah, which is crazy to me. But like, I have the little tracker, and it just keeps. It's going from like $315 down to like $293 to $320 to $291, and then I'm like,
It's flight roulette. I don't know, because my flight tracker says that, and obviously it's summer and flights are more expensive in the summer, but my flight tracker, when I checked it a couple months ago, it said, this is the lowest we expect it to be. Flights are only going to go up because it's summer.
Yeah.
You lied to me. I lied to, because it went down significantly. Because I wasn't even checking. I was like in a moment where, because I've just had like such a stressful semester, like with my stuff and my students and everything. I was like, I need to get away. So I opened my Expedia app because I'm like, I know I have points on there from trips I took last year. And I was like, okay, let's see what we can do with our points. Maybe we can do something. Because I was thinking maybe I'll go to Orlando for a couple nights, or St. Augustine, like something close. And there was like front page, like new low prices on flights to Arlington, Texas. And I was like, what do you mean? I click it, $145.
That's insane.
And they didn't tell me.
That's insane.
It was insane. So I booked it.
Well, I was trying to see if I could bundle like tickets plus like getting that, because there's a specific hotel there that's really close to the venue for Ring of Honor and All In. So I could just walk there.
Yeah.
And there seems to be like a mall area or like a shopping mall area in between the two.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Haley, if you guys remember Haley from Tag Talk days, she's going. And we were like planning like stuff we want to do because obviously we're gonna go see where JFK died. That's like first on the
obviously agenda. We're gonna go see
obviously you pick two neurodivergent girls and you ship them to Dallas, Texas. They're gonna go see where JFK died.
I am dying.
And there's like apparently a cafe near there, and there's an art district with thrift stores and shopping and fun stuff. We're gonna get mangonadas, and it's gonna be, but it's supposed to be really freaking hot, like 100
mangonadas.
What so I'm gonna be walking around like half naked. I hope you guys are ready.
Mangonadas. Okay, it's mangonadas.
They're like kind of like a cross between like a sorbet and a slushie. Like, here, I'll pull up a picture for you.
I need a picture. And if you have ever had a mangonada, rate it 1 through 10. Do you like mangoes? You're a mango person.
Yes. And they have like that tahini and chamoy, but you can get that. Yeah, they're so really good. We have them in Florida because Florida has a large Hispanic Latino population. Yeah. But where Haley lives, they don't have them.
Really?
So she's very excited. And like obviously there's, barbecue and Tex-Mex food and like all that kind of stuff. We haven't booked our hotel or our Airbnb yet because I'm trying to convince everybody and their mother to come.
Right.
So, but yes, I will be at All In. And so I'm excited. And if you can't make it, that's okay. I'll drink a mangonada in your honor.
You better. And you better like call me while you're doing it. So
yeah, and I'll call you during Omega Okada so we can cry together. That's like the last time I cried, like legit sobbing at a wrestling show. I've told the story before, but I don't know if I've ever told it on Wrestling Made Me Cry. I was sitting and I had my friends with me and my sister. Mm-hmm. And I'm crying because the Elite had returned at Full Gear. And I'm crying and crying and crying. And I look behind me, and directly behind me is Jackie from Elite POV, and the entire Elite POV group were together. And she's crying. I'm crying. Everybody's crying. It was kind of like a surreal experience. Kaden from Fightful was there, if you remember Kaden, and a bunch of other people. I'm pretty sure Alex was there. I cried. And I cried. And then I had to go to the bathroom because I couldn't get a hold of myself. And I go into the bathroom and everybody's crying in the bathroom. So shout out Newark, New Jersey. I cried in the bathroom at the Prudential Center.
If you aren't crying in the Prudential Center, when are you supposed to cry?
I've cried in the bathroom at the Prudential Center. I cried in what is it called now? Now Arena?
Yeah.
In Hoffman Estates. I've cried there a couple times. Once because of Bryan Danielson. Once because I don't remember why. I just cried there. I don't remember. I've cried in so many venues. You gotta go to the bathroom and collect yourself,
Mm-hmm.
I cried in Las Vegas multiple times. And not even always about wrestling. I just hated Las Vegas. It was so bad. But All In, I expect to cry. I'll come prepared this time. I'll have tissues.
Okay.
I'll be prepared, guys. It's Omega Okada. I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
It's just a given. But if you can't make it, I'm like not pressuring. I will FaceTime you and we can cry together.
Okay.
Unless you have friends over, then like that's fine. But
I mean, I have some time to decide. It's been a wild month or so for me. And there is a lot going on. Summer's always the time that a lot is going on. But if I can even just sneak away for Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's not going to cost more than $1,000 because I don't think I can afford. Yeah. But also like I know that my husband doesn't want to go because like,
yeah, I saw him talking about it, and I was like, you know what? That's a good point.
It's valid.
It's valid.
However, I don't face the kind of fear, I guess, because my,
yeah,
and I don't know. It's just the political climate that it is, and it is Texas. However, it's Okada and
I had the same debate with myself because I was like, do I want to support the, I'm treading so carefully, I don't know if you can tell,
right,
the economy
right,
of said state. But then I also remembered there are a lot of small businesses in the city that could benefit from my support while everybody's boycotting, travel and whatever.
right.
So that was my mindset, going as small business forward as I can, because it's Omega Okada, and I'm like, Kenny Omega saved my life, no exaggeration. And so this is probably the last time they're going to face off in a singles match because they're getting older. Right. And so after Kenny Omega almost died, I couldn't miss it.
I know.
Also, Jose just quoted me, and why did I say this? I cried in Las Vegas, not even because of wrestling, because it was Las Vegas.
To be fair.
You guys need to call me out on my bullshit more when I say things. Obviously it's fair, and obviously I meant it. But all the people in Las Vegas are like, what'd you say fuck me for?
Yeah, why you say fuck me for?
I hated Las Vegas. Oh my God. It was so hot. It was full of drunk men everywhere. I don't gamble because, I'm not into it. Yeah. And so everything was gambling. The food was okay, but it was just the drunk men everywhere that they're just peeing on the streets because they're too drunk to make it to their hotel, and they're harassing because the people that walk around Vegas and they try to get you to pay for a photo, the showgirls and the characters and all that kind of stuff. They were harassing them, especially the showgirls. And I felt very unsafe in Las Vegas. So I cried a lot. The weather was good though. It was hot and dry, which was very refreshing for my swamp self. So, but yes, Texas is going to be, judging by the weather that I looked up, the historical patterns or whatever, pretty hot. Basically Florida weather, which I'm used to, but other people are not used to. And so it's going to be so fun. Haley, she's from Ohio. She's not used to that kind of weather. So it's going to be a good time. Clown says Hostel 3 took place in Vegas. I'm not surprised. It felt like that. I constantly felt like I was on the verge of death. I did have good tacos there, though.
Okay.
And, oh my God, I went to, I can't remember the name of it. I found this, I was on Groupon because I was looking for group things to do. And there was a Hollywood Cars museum that wasn't that far from the Strip. And if you booked on Groupon, you got a free soda. So I booked it, obviously, and we went. And we got our free cans of Diet Coke and just walked around the car museum. And then my sister's wearing a Betty Boop shirt. And he says, look, there's a Betty Boop statue. And he makes her go take a picture with the Betty Boop statue. Dude, he's telling me all about the history of mopeds. And I was like, sir, I don't know anything about mopeds. He's like, let me tell you. You see this model? And he gave me this whole spiel about the mopeds. I had a blast.
This is interesting.
So if you're ever in Vegas, that's, I think, the one place that you should go.
So here's the funniest part is that I can easily get under $100 tickets to Vegas. Because
we live
right
part.
The problem is the lodging.
Yes.
It is so freaking expensive to, I mean, it's cheap to fly to Vegas, but then you go and you want to stay at one of these hotels and it's $200 and change a night.
Yeah. We stayed I went to the name of the hotel we stayed at. Because if we ever went back to Vegas, we would stay there again. And there was already there were people when I was there who DM'd me on Twitter, like, I'm in your hotel. So weird. But I don't remember how much we paid for it. But most of the hotels, they try to because they have to charge, in Las Vegas, they have to have like an extra fee, like a resort fee.
Yeah.
So that's like part of it. And then they try to justify it by giving you like things for the casino, because most of them have casinos like in the lobby. Mm-hmm. I don't gamble. I don't like it. It gives me the ick. So I don't gamble. So I don't remember how much we stayed on the Strip, but I don't remember how much we ended up paying for it. But my thing is, I don't know if you're like this, when I'm on a trip, I want to spend as much time outside of my hotel or my Airbnb as possible. Like, I like to do things. I like to see the city and like
go out. Yeah.
And like meet people and experience the food and the culture and the vibes and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not interested in like going to a hotel in Vegas and just like doing the slots the whole time. We have a super chat from Bianca who says, instead of Texas, me and hubby are going to some of the AEW Philly shows. We got married day before seeing All Out, so it'll be our anniversary trip. Oh my god,
I love it so much.
Happy anniversary, first of all, or happy anniversary soon.
Yeah.
But I love that AEW. So AEW, if you didn't know, is doing like a kind of a residency at the 2300 Arena, and so it's gonna be super exciting. I hope that you have a good time. And instead of Texas going to those shows, you're still gonna have a good time. It's gonna be fun. But so thank you for the super chat.
Okay, so you said Expedia, by the way.
Huh?
So you said Expedia, and I just looked. $273. 273. And it would be nonstop.
Oh, a nonstop?
Yeah.
Oh, college. Is that
I was just interested to see the price, and I'm like, oh, it's actually a nonstop one. It's 4 hours. It's a 4-hour flight.
4 hours? Mine is not 4 hours. Mine is like, let me check.
Yours is a hop, skip, and a jump.
I know, because we're flying over the Gulf. So the Gulf of Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Yeah. Ours is, where's it say duration? Let me check. It will be 3 hours. Because you go back in time. Because it's switching the time zones. 3 hours. Which is not bad. It's not
bad. Okay, I'm going to think about it. Okay, I'm going to really think about it.
Yeah, just let me know. Because worst case scenario, we book our hotel or like we book our stuff, our lodging, and then you decide later you want to go, and you can just like crash with us. It's fine.
Okay.
Worst case scenario.
I like a couch.
I like a couch.
I'll do a pull-out.
There was one time where I think it was actually in Chicago. We put 6 of us in one king-size bed.
Oh, that's cute.
Did we get in trouble? Yes. But
listen. I like the comfort, but I mean, even I'll have to talk with my husband because here's also a thing that I didn't think of. This is something that my husband and I talked about on our 1-year anniversary, is that I have always been so independent that I always make my own decisions. Like it has always been in the forefront of my mind. How am I going to do this? How am I going to get here? How am I and it's, I don't want to say it's like bordered on like selfish, but it's because I've had to look out for myself.
Yeah.
Since I was a child, because if nobody looked out for, if I didn't look out for myself, nobody would look out for me.
Yeah.
So it has been such a huge transition with like making financial decisions to be like, oh, I know that I can do this. My husband wouldn't care. He wouldn't care if I spent $300. But it's the transition of like, I need to have a conversation with him because I know that he'll say things like, okay, just to be clear, like we need to also prioritize this and like he's
pragmatic.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. But he can talk me into and he can talk me out of anything based on whatever vibe I'm like,
yeah.
He's like, you really don't want to go, or you really actually want to go. So let's figure it out. He's great. Love my husband. It's a different way of thinking for myself of like, I could just do it and then apologize later. But then it's like,
yeah,
I gotta talk to him. Anyways, I just want to go see All In. I know that a lot of things are going to happen. Mostly, though, I want to see Supercard of Honor.
Which, what will that end up looking like?
What will that end up looking like? Who will be my champions? I don't know, but they've been showing Ring of Honor talent on AEW proper.
Sammy Guevara
Sammy Guevara calling out Adam Cole, baby. When can we get those tag titles off them?
I don't know. So, like, the thing is, Sammy being back on AEW TV, love it. Like, cool. If I'm all for him getting booked. Sammy Guevara coming to AEW TV, winning $100,000, and then saying, "Oh, now I want Adam Cole." Intriguing. I don't think he's going to beat Adam Cole. I think this is going to be a situation where it's just like a cool, fun one-off match. But
cool, fun.
just a funny little thing. I am worried. I'm trying not to be too like doom and gloom. I'm worried about Ring of Honor. Because it feels like with Athena and Sammy and some other people coming to AEW that they're preparing for like either a complete revamp, a complete gutting, a something, especially because they've let a lot of Ring of Honor contracts expire. I'm worried.
Yeah.
But I'm optimistic that maybe it is for the better, that they've like finally committed to a vision and they're like just moving the chess pieces to get where they need to go.
Perhaps. I hope so.
Supercard, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm hoping that it's good because they're putting it on the same weekend as All In, which to me signals that they want people there.
You're right.
And so if you want people there, like AEW fans, not just people, AEW fans, then you have to put on a good show. And you also want to say to them, like, here's what Ring of Honor is. And so they can buy into it or not buy into it or, you know, whatever. And you can expand your audience that way. So I'm wondering if they're doing a shakeup of some sort to get to Supercard and have a relaunch. Perhaps. Maybe I'm being too optimistic. I don't know.
I like that. I like that idea because they need something like this. However, I think that the Ring of Honor fan base, like myself, one of the last few people still reviewing the weekly Ring of Honor show.
Yeah.
The biggest criticism I see online is that there is this huge lineage of history for Ring of Honor. A lot of people who watch Ring of Honor are weirdo history of wrestling buffs who like that lineage, that like the history of it all. I mean, it's a history longer than AEW. Like,
yeah,
it's a history longer than TNA. Why would you not cater to the fans who have been here this whole time? However, having an ROH belt on Nick Wayne, who's going to the Super Juniors, I have thoughts.
Share.
My thoughts is that they want the world to see Ring of Honor as prestigious, as something that people have fought for these belts. Have they fought for them? Not really. Not on Ring of Honor television, on everywhere else.
Yeah, everywhere else.
But I think Tony is still trying to get it on TV somewhere.
He's got it.
And I don't understand why waste your time trying to put it on TV? You keep getting these no's, or you keep getting these stipulations, need Chris Jericho involved, need all these names, add AEW, Ring of Honor. No. You have a platform that is pretty inexpensive compared to all the other streaming platforms. Build that as something you can't miss. Yeah. Bring back your monthly pay-per-views. Bring back your residencies in Texas or what have you, where that there are specific fan bases. Don't just fit in these Ring of Honor matches before and after a Dynamite or Collision taping.
Yeah. What I think would probably work for them, just for audience building alone and building an audience as a proof of concept, if you wanted to get on, TBS or whatever, or Max, have Honor Club, the paid subscription, and upload episodes on a delay, 1 month maybe, onto YouTube.
Yeah.
And people can watch them for free and buy into Ring of Honor, and then they buy into Ring of Honor, they're more likely to pay the cost of Honor Club. Because getting people to pay for a streaming service that's just one thing, it's just Ring of Honor, is very difficult when they haven't seen it, because it's behind a paywall, and there's AEW basically uploads no Ring of Honor content anywhere. So upload them on YouTube on a month delay, or break it down into seasons and upload it seasons, something like that, and people can watch it for free on YouTube. But they're more likely to pay. That's what a lot of YouTube content companies are doing, because it's very difficult to make money on YouTube. But you could build an audience on YouTube in ways that streaming services can't. So just do it. Just freaking do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
What do you have to lose? Because clearly, and I'm speculating here, clearly they're not going to be on Max soon. Or maybe they thought they were going to be on Max by now, and now they have no plan. I don't know. But you have nothing to lose, because Ring of Honor is dying. Objectively, it is dying. So people are jumping off the ship. So what do you have to lose? Nothing. And it'd be a good way to get exposure for a lot of the young people that they put in Ring of Honor. And then who knows? Maybe it doesn't work. What have you lost? Nothing, because you're uploading it on a delay.
And here's the thing with YouTube is that if people watch it, ad revenues go to your page. So
and it's not going to be anything earth-shaking in terms of revenue,
right?
But it'll be more, and it'll be additional revenue to what they're making on Honor Club. Because I don't know the Honor Club figures. I don't know if anybody knows the Honor Club figures. And Honor Club is inexpensive, but it is difficult for people to make the decision to sign up for just the one thing. That's why AEW on Max was much better than an AEW streaming service. So I don't know, but Supercard getting moved to be on the same weekend as All In, that I'm kind of on the fence. It feels like it could be a really good thing, like a relaunch, and here's the new Ring of Honor. Or it could be a situation where they didn't invest enough time and resources into planning and they had to move it. I don't know. Either way, Ring of Honor, please don't die.
Yeah, let's not die, because I think a lot of people like myself, and I think of the Kyle K. Sparks, I think of the Robert DeFleece, we're still out there. We're still out there, and we just want it to succeed. So,
yeah, and I think it will if they give it an identity as a promotion.
yes.
I think it will, because I don't want to be mean, but there are a lot of Impact TNA fans who no longer want to be Impact TNA fans, but they also don't want necessarily to just be WWE fans.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Ring of Honor has been part of this like AEW, New Japan, Stardom, CMLL like multiverse.
Yeah.
Prop them up, dog. Get up. Get up. If you don't want to book Ring of Honor, let me do it. Wrestling Cry will retire. We will shut the doors, and me and Collins will go book Ring of Honor.
Oh my God! Think of that boardroom of like, how could we make this the most? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and MXM champions.
Like Jose says, the ROH YouTube channel has been uploading more classic matches in the past couple weeks. So has the AEW YouTube. But this to me, and maybe I'm like being too optimistic. Maybe I'm being naive. But this to me says that they are trying to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that something is a firmer split between AEW and Ring of Honor, and they're defining rosters and figuring it out, fine. But Supercard has to knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
And you can't just bring AEW talent in for stories. As much as I loved FTR versus the Briscoes, I think then taking all of them to AEW, it left a void. And now Athena is in Mercedes land. Well, when is Athena going to drop this title, first of all?
We got to build something, because if it wasn't Billy, we got to figure out who. And I think that they're building. Well, they also still have to build this women's pure title, which
they announced, and then
yeah. Don't make me scream anymore. Don't make me scream anymore. We'll figure it out, but along the way, you better not disappoint there, Tony Khan. So,
period.
Absolutely.
People tuned in late, so I just wanted to show off my controversial shirt again. I saw that Bianca was worried that she missed the show because she had taken a nap, but I feel like this whole show was a fever dream.
I mean, a little bit, but you know what? May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th. My birthday's in 2 days.
Yeah.
We went on a whole.
Almost bought a plane ticket without thinking about my husband,
mid-show.
Yeah. Well, you said it, and then it was just right here, and then all I had to do was click like 4 buttons.
They make it so easy. It's kind of disgusting. And on Expedia too, I like all the people I normally fly with, I have their information saved, so I can just click and buy everybody.
That's crazy.
Well, I'm always the travel planner because everybody I know, they don't want to be the ones that make decisions. So it falls on me.
All right. Well,
316 MMA says, who do you sign for AEW for the wrestlers who got let go?
Shayna Baszler
and Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
I'm not, my thing is, and I don't want to talk about WWE too much because I'm boycotting, but because I'm boycotting, a lot of them I have no idea.
Yeah.
About. Like, Katana Chance. I do know from things other people have said that they gutted the women's tag division. And that most of the releases were women.
Yeah, Jakara.
So, like,
Jackson,
AEW.
Yeah.
Maybe a good time to introduce some women's tag titles and do it properly. But also Shayna Baszler, me and Haley were talking about this. Shayna Baszler in the Ops, which we didn't even talk about the Ops. Samoa Joe versus Jon Moxley in a cage match. Oh, boy. Give it to Joe. Just give it.
Please?
They're not going to, but I wish they would.
I wish they would.
But I feel like they're building Ospreay versus Mox for All In. I feel like that's going to be Oh, thank you, Jose, for the happy birthday. And thank you for saying we're a ray of sunshine. I love you guys. But I think it is going to be Ospreay and Mox, which I'm not mad about because I think Ospreay wins in that situation. But I would be lying if I said Hangman Samoa Joe wasn't more appealing. Hangman Samoa Joe would be the exact kind of like barroom brawl, like just disgusting slobber knocker.
Disgusting slobber knocker.
And that's how
we grade our matches over here.
The slobber knocker scale.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hangman Samoa Joe would be a solid 10 on the slobber knocker. I think Ospreay Mox is a 5. I'm just not. Moxley hasn't had an interesting match in so long to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's because the Death Riders suck. And it's always interference. Oh no. What is Marina Shafir doing here? It's not like she's here every single time. But I don't know. If Ospreay wins, I'm fine with it. If it's clean. I want Moxley to lose and disappear. Period. Bianca says if Ospreay doesn't win, I'll cry from frustration. Real.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, guys. What a crazy time in wrestling. It was a crazy week. My favorite part was I think my favorite part was Kenny Omega coming out in his Shein jeggings again. I'm sorry, his tights are so ugly all the time. They're just like Fashion Nova little like Amazon tights. Like
they do look like Amazon tights. However, his booty be bootying. I
don't know what his workout routine is, but he would make so much money if he dropped it.
Right.
Because how? It's not
put on those whole trunks at least. He's got.
If he put on like trunks, I think he would have a malfunction, a little fashion disaster. I think something would happen.
I would die.
I think, would the crowd be into it? Obviously, I think the crowd. Obviously, it's Kenny Omega, but the way that he almost died, and then he's like, you know what I need to do before my comeback? Build my ass.
Yeah.
And he built his ass. That thing is not just a shelf. That thing is like if you duct taped a watermelon to each cheek. That's what it's like.
Listen, he does it for everyone. So Kenny Omega is for everyone.
What a man. He's going to be like 90 years old. Still going to have a fat ass. That's
Kiley.
Just like trademark.
Oh my gosh. Kiley, I love how you said, hey, I can only go an hour. And we're at an hour and 8 minutes. And you're talking about Kenny Omega's giant dumper.
But Kenny Omega's giant dumper is like my number one priority. He needs it. How else is he going to do all the dives and stuff? He needs the muscles, you know?
Oh my gosh, Kiley. It's always a joy. It's always a joy to be streaming with you.
Thanks. It's always a joy to stream with you. And you tolerate all my nonsense, which is the best part. And I love that we're 40 episodes in because now this is our norm.
Yeah.
So like, we're just allowed to do this now.
Absolutely. And y'all are here for it. So we love you so much.
Period. But you want to do your final thoughts and your plugs?
Do I have much about my final thoughts? No, I just love what AEW is putting out. I really liked Dynamite this week. I haven't finished Collision. Don't tell anyone. But I really like all these episodes. I like these venues that are happening. And can we just do more of this? But if you want to follow me on all social medias, it is _queer auntie. I am on Blue Sky. There is no underscore there, but you can still see me in action. Queer on Tea, the Blue Sky, whatever the Blue Sky, whatever. Just find me and you'll know when I'm going live. I do stream Thursdays through Sundays. The Mother Tucking Post Show is back for RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. I thought it started this Friday. Let's see. I thought this new season starts this Friday. Streaming May 9th. So Jose on the air and I on Friday evening will be chatting about RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. So if you want to watch the first episode, it is on that Paramount Plus app. So it's gonna be a fun time. Thursday evenings, we are talking about Ring of Honor over on our local establishment, where if you want to hear about Ring of Honor or, not watch Ring of Honor and just watch us ramble, that is where my co-host Kyle K. Sparks and I chat about everything. And then I'm here every Sunday. And sometimes I stream things on Saturdays. Collins on the Rocks podcast will be back. Kiley, we have an episode to do.
I know. I'm waiting in the wings for my call time.
All right. Well, May is going to be a fun month, but May the 4th be with you. What do you have going on for yourself?
I just want to say I have not heard this rumor that Shinsuke Nakamura is done with WWE because I don't keep up with WWE, but always loved Shinsuke. And I am also, Fernando, I'm also a Trek fan. Have never seen Star Wars. So if you guys would like a podcast where I watch Star Wars and then talk about Star Wars, let me know. And we'll do that.
Yeah.
Because it's summer now and I have free time. But my final thoughts are that I'm really enjoying AEW and I'm enjoying that they are moving forward with inclusivity and kindness in a time where those things put a target on your back. So I love that. And I love that Toni Storm is really embracing it, which means a lot coming from a world champion. So I love that. That's my final thoughts. Plugs, you can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter at Kiley Wrestling. My Twitter is private, so you'll have to wait until I check my follow requests. I'm sorry. I don't do it often, so but it'll be a nice surprise for you one day when you get in.
It's like a little club.
It's like a little club. But I'm more active on Blue Sky. Yes, Mike is right. Long live the sickos. Long live the sickos. This is Wrestling Made Me Cry. It's a show where me and Collins come on every Sunday and we talk about the things of wrestling that make us cry. Which this week apparently was a lot. But you know what? I had a good time talking about all of it. So
absolutely.
If you like this kind of thing, if you want to be part of the Sickos Academy, make sure to see us every Sunday around-ish noon Eastern time on Fightful Overbooked. Sometimes it's 12:05, sometimes it's 12:10. Around there on Fightful Overbooked every Sunday, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, 5 British. Whatever that is where you are. Fightful Overbooked. I need to memorize all the time. I used to have them. I was like, it's 11 a.m. Central, it's 10 Mountain, but wherever that is where you are, Fightful Overbooked. And also, this is Fightful Overbooked. It's a channel full of a hodgepodge, a mix, an assortment of podcasts and shows, wrestling, non-wrestling, all the things. So make sure you like this video. And if you're watching after we go live, hi, please comment and let us know your thoughts on any of the things we talked about or other things. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. And then go to the Fightful Overbooked channel, go to the playlist tab and go explore. Rob and Maggie do an excellent show called Coexisting. I highly recommend. If you like us, you'll love Rob and Maggie too.
Yes.
Very similar vibes. We're all sickos in the Sickos Academy. Excellent. Just I love that show. In the Weeds is more like news type content, news commentary type content, and there's a bunch of stuff. So just go find what you like. You don't need me to hold your hand. You know what to do. All that being said, Thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode of Wrestling Made Me Cry. Our 40th episode. 10 more to 50, which I don't know if you guys know this. 50 episodes is like a milestone. Yeah. I think like 0.05% of podcasts make it to 50. So thank you guys so much for watching and enjoying us so that we can keep going and doing this thing. Mm-hmm. I'm so grateful for all of you. And some of you have been here since episode 1.
Which is crazy.
Some of you were here for our Tag Talk episode. That was like the spark of Wrestling Made Me Cry. Some of you were here for that. Just legends. Absolute legends.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how I was planning on ending. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.